One of the best atmospheres in college basketball is in America's finest city, San Diego, California. And they're expecting a great crowd tonight at Viejas Arena for the game of the year in the Mountain West Conference. Number 22 San Diego State hosts Boise State with first place in the conference on the line. Alex Faust and Casey Jacobson here with you. 5 teams atop the Mountain West all have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. But as we check the standings, both the Aztecs and the Broncos right now leading the way at 8-2 in conference play. The big news, however, concerns the Broncos and their point guard Marcus Shaver Jr. He turned his ankle badly on Tuesday in a win over Air Force, but he is out tonight.
Yeah, it's an ankle injury that he has been dealing with since early December. He missed 4 games back then. A devastating blow to the Broncos in the biggest game of their season so far. So without Marcus Shaver Jr., keep an eye on Tyson Degenhart. He is the Broncos' 6'7" versatile power forward who leads this team in scoring. He has to be special tonight. And as for San Diego State, Darion Trammell, he's playing in his first rivalry game versus the Broncos. He doesn't have to worry about slowing down Shaver, so I'm wondering if he's going to have a big game for the Aztecs.
Yeah. Matt Bradley's been a part of this rivalry. Boise State swept San Diego State last year. The Aztecs looking for some revenge. They were stifled in all 3 meetings. The Broncos, the reigning conference champions. We are underway between Boise State and San Diego State. Here is Matt Bradley working the offense. Darion Trammell. Ian Bradley, the only 2 Aztecs to score in double figures against Nevada in a loss for San Diego State on Tuesday. That was a signature win for Nevada, a huge resume builder for them. And San Diego State hoping to get back to their usual home cooking here, where they are one of the best teams in the nation on their home floor. A steal, Lamont Butler out in the open court, finishes the 2-hand flush to get the scoring started.
One of my favorite defensive players in this conference that is loaded with them, Lamont Butler, number 5 in white right now. Do you see who he's guarding? Max Rice. He doesn't have any help responsibility because Rice can shoot it from deep.
Entry pass here. Najee Smith, his health was a concern as well. He left the game early against Air Force as Degenhart takes it in to score.
It's going to be interesting to see Nathan Mensah, who's a very good defender, but he's more comfortable around the rim. He's going to be pulled away from the basket and asked to guard Degenhart on the perimeter.
Bradley off the shot fake. Tons of room. He'll line up a 3, come up short. And the rebound pulled down by Jace Whiting, the freshman, who joined the program after a 2-year mission. He started earlier this season when Shaver first missed some time with injury.
Yeah, he started all 4 of the games that Marcus Shaver missed, and Boise State went 3-1. And Jace Whiting, he was pretty good, 6 points and 3 assists. He is capable, but he's just young.
Baseline jumper off the mark for Chibuzo Abo. A 3 is off the mark for Whiting. And it'll go to the Aztecs.
You cannot mess around with either of these teams. You got to be careful with the ball, careful with your passing, and create leads on offense. And that time, Max Rice did not get into the body of Lamont Butler, and they paid the price for it.
There's Butler. And tried to fit it into a tight window there for Keyshawn Johnson. It'll go to the Broncos. Take a look here at Leon Rice, his 13th season, the reigning Mountain West Coach of the Year. Boy, both coaches, Casey, and chatting with them earlier, they know the stakes here. They are building this rivalry up. They think this is the first of 3 heavyweight rounds.
Yeah, they call it round 1. I love that, man. Right? Last year, Boise State won all 3 of those rounds, and neither team, in all 3 of those games, Alex, neither team broke the 60-point barrier. I expect these teams to break it tonight.
All right. There was a rock fight in every sense with a 42-37 final here on this floor last year. 4-2 Boise State will push off on the rebound as Smith tried to grab it, and he got pulled by Johnson.
Alex, can you repeat the score of last year's game for me? Oh, there it is.
Oh, Leon Rice called this a thing of beauty when we talked to him yesterday.
If you love defensive hoops, you have come to the right place. You are watching the right game. And look at that, San Diego State. This is at Viejas Arena, mind you. did not score in the second half for the first 10 minutes. They only scored 14 total points in that second half.
There's Max Rice. Led Boise State with 22 points and 7 rebounds against Air Force on Tuesday. He's the coach's son, but he's become the consummate glue guy for this team.
He averages 14 points a game, Alex, but how about this? You better find him early because he averages 9 of those 14 in the first half. He is a guy that is looking to be aggressive early.
Oh, Mensah going inside, but a foul is called. Beg your pardon, they're going to call a goaltend and count the basket.
Yeah, that was a Gluck rope getting deep position there. And a rope, another fifth-year senior for Brian Dutcher, number 33 in white. He's been around the block a few hundred times, knows every part of this arena, and is one of the leaders off the bench for the Aztecs. As we take a look at Brian Dutcher, one of the best in the business.
Brian Dutcher, you know, this team, you talk about defense. I mean, that's been their identity for years. But some of those metrics, Casey, have slipped this season. And ask him about there's no real fingerprint on why. Great inbounds play, but it wouldn't go for Degenhart.
A rope already making his presence felt on both ends of the floor. He's a super sub, I call him.
Rice, tough shot, skips off the rim. There's a rope to grab the board.
So in a little bit of a surprise, it's the Boise State defense that comes into this game ranked in the top 10 in the country. That's according to KenPom. That's usually what we say, Alex, about the Aztecs defensively every single year. But this year, it's Boise State that's in the top 10, and San Diego State ranked 36 in defensive efficiency. And look at the numbers down there. They're giving up the highest field goal percentage that they have in over a decade.
Smith, tough take. There's a rope again with a defensive play.
And he's putting on a personal highlight reel in the first 2 minutes that he's on the floor.
Yes, sir. Adam Seiko, three-point wizard at times. He's off the mark there. Shooting a career high 51% from 3 this season. A huge jump from a year ago. Chibuzo Abo. No. Well, we promised more scoring, but neither team shooting better than 35% from the field, at least to begin. 6-4, Boise State. Boise State with the early edge, 6-4 over San Diego State. I want to show you a replay here. Casey, walk me through this a little bit.
This is what you call a basketball knuckleball. This is Chibuzo Abo. Watch there's no rotation at all. Maybe a half spin on that ball. Even Tim Wakefield and Phil Necro would be jealous of that shot right there. But, I mean, we tease, but Abo, this is a homecoming for him from St. Augustine High School in San Diego, and he's a fantastic three-point shooter. Second best on the team for the Broncos, 42% from 3. So you do have to mark him, despite the fact that that shot did not have any spin on it.
Didn't, I don't know if he did that at Texas Tech, where he spent 2 seasons. Sparingly used there as they went on their NCAA tournament run, reaching the Sweet 16 last year. But he's led the Broncos in scoring 7 times this year. He's been a great find for this coaching staff.
Another transfer for Leon Rice, who's done a really nice job over the years with plugging guys in from other programs and having them flourish. And Abu's just the latest example.
Jaden Ledee turns and puts up the baby jumper to tie the game at 6 apiece.
So, Alex, we've already seen the depth of Brian Dutcher's bench. This is probably the best bench he's ever had. It's a true 9-man rotation for the Aztecs.
Max Rice looked like he was trying to draw a foul there off Seiko, and that pass gets away. It's a Boise State turnover, their second.
Jaden Ledee is 6'9", 240 pounds. Look at his shoulders, look at his biceps. That is a mismatch down low for Tyson Degenhart. And when Ledee comes in the game, he is super aggressive. He plays like every single offensive set is run for him.
Tied at 6 apiece. Micah Parrish checks into the game for the Aztecs. A rope tried to bully his way inside, got walled up. Broncos bring it up court. Degenhart off the mark from 3, and it skips off the hands of Abo and goes back to the Aztecs.
This is one of those games where these players cannot be looking at the officials to bail them out.
No.
This is what I call a mouthpiece game. Put your mouthpiece in, and if you go inside the paint, you better be ready to get checked or elbowed in the face. Play on.
I think he's got a little chippy with San Diego State and Nevada earlier in the week. We fully expect that to be the case between these two teams here tonight.
Yeah, Darion Trammell, who's not in the game right now, and Jared Lucas, the leading scorer for Nevada, got into it. And Trammell got a technical foul.
Here's Johnson. With 7 to shoot. Hand it off. Parrish off the curl, picks up his dribble. Seiko has to hurry, launches a 3. He's got it!
You mentioned Seiko when he comes off the bench. He is the prototypical 3-and-D guy. What do you mean by that? On offense, he is hunting the three-point arc. 76% of his career shots are threes, and he's a good defender.
No-look pass for Mohamed Silla. Detroit Mercy transfer. Just came into the game, and it's 9-8.
Boise State, not a very tall team, so Silla, a much-needed presence down low for them.
Probably just a little bit more depth with Boise State when they're fully healthy. Nice take. That drops in for Butler.
I'm surprised they look at Leon Rice on the sideline. He is beside himself. That ball was still on the rim. You were not allowed to touch it. It was coming off, but the ball was still on the rim. A break for the Aztecs.
Smith into the lane, puts it up and gets hit. He'll shoot a pair.
Take a look at this last play. This ball is on the rim. Watch here. Yeah,
wow.
I mean, it was coming off, but it was still inside the cylinder. And look at the players and the coaches are like, man, if this game comes down to one possession, that's a tough one.
Fully expect that that'll be the case. Last year, get the sense from San Diego State, they're still upset with how things went, getting swept the regular season and losing in the championship game. And for Boise State, they feel like they haven't earned a lot of respect from around the country with the way that they've played.
Yeah, you know, I mean, people talk about the Mountain West and they say San Diego State, from a basketball perspective, has owned this conference. Well, let's give some credit to Leon Rice and the Boise State Broncos as Trammell misses an in-and-out jumper. Let's give them credit. They won the regular season title last year for the first time. They won the conference tournament championship as well, just to make sure that if you thought it was a fluke. And we got to the tournament. Of course, Boise State has yet to win an NCAA tournament game in their program's history. They're 0-8. We asked him about that, Alex, and he's like, look, I'm not thinking about that right now, right? One step at a time. Got a game right now, tonight, in San Diego. But of course, it's on the mind of all the players. They want to take that next big step forward as a program.
And they felt last year with the way the seeding shook out that kind of got unlucky with the matchup against Memphis. This is an offensive foul. Pale Kuzmanovic, junior from Serbia. Oh, hand check, extending the forearm. Let's see.
Pavle wants to shoot it from 3 as well. Really tall, 6'5". Yeah, not a ton of contact there, but anytime you extend an arm, even if it's not like forcefully, they're going to call it.
11-8.
Look at the D just battling down there for low post position.
Tough fadeaway for Ledee. And it rims in and out. Jace Whiting brings it up court. We'll see who gets the majority of touches at point guard here tonight. Degenhardt or Kuzmanovic. Degenhardt again. Timer inside of 10. Kuzmanovic able to slice his way down the lane. The runner wouldn't go. Contact underneath the rim, and a loose ball foul is called on the Broncos.
That is a defensive possession. That is how San Diego State wants to play every single possession. If they can bottle up that energy, then Boise State's in trouble tonight.
I mentioned earlier that there are 5 teams in contention for the NCAA tournament in the Mountain West. These two lead the way. Boise State, San Diego State inside the top 30 in the net. But look at where they rank ahead of Kentucky. We know how they've kind of bobbed and weaved this year with their struggles. But Blue Bloods are trailing these two. And all year long, It seems like these two teams have been on a collision course, but 5 teams inside the top 40 in the net, Casey, from the Mountain West.
Oh, that's crazy. They haven't had 5 teams in the NCAA tournament right there since 2013. That's the gold standard year for this conference in the Mountain West. I think there is a chance. I'm comfortable thinking that 4 teams are going to get in. It's possible that 5 if Utah State and Nevada continue their strong push. But man, defensively is why these two teams are where they're at. Look at the numbers as they rank in the Mountain West Conference. And we told you before that normally San Diego State is 1-1-1 and everything defensively, but it's been Boise State. So without Marcus Shaver Jr., Boise State's starting point guard, their leader, 3rd leading scorer, leading rebounder and assist guy, out with an ankle injury, they're going to lean even more heavily defensively to try and gut out a win.
Lob pass looking for Mensah, and he's fouled. Now the Broncos have missed 7 of their last 8 from the field. They're shooting just 31%. San Diego State not much better at 38.
Darion Trammell had his eyes up that entire time, and what is he looking for? He's trying to read the weak side. So Degenhart shows towards Darion Trammell. He's reading the weak side. There was no weak side, so he just throws it up.
Mensah hits the first. Reigning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. It's interesting just looking at all these players recruited from both teams with specificity in mind towards defense first.
Yeah, every time Leon Rice goes in the transfer portal or goes out to recruit, same with Brian Dutcher, the first question they're asking, are they athletic enough and can they defend? They'll get to all the other stuff afterwards.
Full court press here from the Aztecs.
Love the student crowd here too.
Whiting able to cross the timing line.
And not only do you have to deal with this defense full court, you got to deal with this crowd for 40 minutes.
Nice pass from Whiting. Smith on the step through is rejected. Mensah just picked up the block. Trammell, nice pass. Mensah in the soft area.
And he has that range. That's about where, it's about as far as it goes, Alex. About 8 or 9 feet, but he does have a nice jump hook and a floater right there. You don't have to guard him outside of that area.
Whiting coughs it up. Numbers for the Aztecs. Bradley off the mark from 3. And Whiting pulls down the board.
Whiting, a freshman, you got to know if you're a Bronco in a blue uniform, help him out.
13-2 run for the Aztecs. 3.5 minutes since the last Boise State points. Degenhart trying to back his way in against Mensah. Off the drop step, Degenhart skips it off the rim. Mensah with the rebound. And this Aztec defensive vice, although they give it away here, this is probably the best that San Diego State's defense has played in a little while.
Yeah, and Mensah, if he has had a down season compared to the monster year he had last year. He is the reigning Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year and doing it on both ends so far in this one. Mensah with 4 points, 1 rebound, and a block. Yeah, look at those career numbers for him. Just keeps climbing up the ladder.
We heard that he was dealing with an illness earlier in the year. Didn't get specificity on it, but it took him a while to get back to 100%, we understand.
He's only playing 21 minutes a game.
Yeah. That, however, he has a goaltend.
That was close too, right? And he was supposed to be down in drop coverage there. Communication not there, but he almost gets this one. That's how long and quick he is.
Just it hit the glass. 15-10. That stops the drought for the Broncos. Trammell off the curl, locates Johnson on the alley-oop.
Because Matt Bradley was in the corner as a shooting threat, the defense who was guarding Bradley did not want to come off and help, and that's why that lob was open.
(17-10) Aztecs tried to enter it to Degenhart, but that's this Aztec defense making every pass challenging right now.
And watch right here, Matt Bradley, keep an eye on him. As we run this play, you're going to see his defender, Abo, is not going to come off and help. Freeze it right here. This is where he needs to be, down there. Instead, he's not. You got to slow down that lob. He's not there. You just throw it up.
Aztecs by 7. This has been a tough stretch for them lately. 4th game in a 10-day span, but they ended at home. Bounce pass. Mensah drawing the contact from Degenhardt.
Yeah, I shouldn't be too surprised. Nathan Mensah does average close to 7 points a game. However, they are really going to him. And Mensah's like, you know, down low with his hands up saying, I want the ball. And I have not seen that very often throughout this season.
Hit the first of 2. He's had kind of a harrowing journey at times. Had a pulmonary embolism a couple of years ago. Had to miss on-court activity for about 10 months. But when he's healthy, man, he is a beast down low. 130th career game for Mensah.
And San Diego State loves to get to the foul line. Why? Because they can put points on the board, and now they're going to pick you up full court and wear you down. This is where that 9-man rotation comes into play.
And Abo way too strong on the 3-point try. Broncos shooting just 29% from the field. 0 of 5 from deep.
Here's Mensah
again. Boy, he's having his way in the low post tonight.
I didn't see this coming. Nathan Mensah having his way against Tyson Degenhardt. That wasn't on my board for tonight. And I don't know if Leon Rice and Boise State need to make some adjustments there. Maybe double team him.
Degenhardt, offensive foul. And guess who? Number 31 in whites, who has had the better of Degenhardt from the opening tip.
It's Nathan Mensah's world. We're just living in it right now in San Diego. The big man dominating on both ends.
Well, they want some revenge in San Diego. Boise State, who swept the season series against San Diego State, but the Aztecs off to an 11-point lead, and Nathan Mensah is having one of his best games all year.
Alex, I knew he would be a force on the defensive end. That's not a surprise. He is 3rd all-time in Aztec history in block shots. On the offensive end, he's a pick and diver, and he's got that mid-range game. But the isolation, the post isolation, didn't really see that coming, and here he puts his body on the line. Coming into tonight, Nathan Mensah was the 8th leading scorer for San Diego State. You see the numbers right there, 6.5 points a game. And we haven't even played more than 13 minutes in this one, and he's already having his way.
So if you're the Broncos, what do you adjust?
They got to get Tyson Degenhardt on the perimeter where he can take Mensah out into deep waters. The only Degenhardt is 1 for 4, and you remember that one bucket he had was a perimeter drive with Mensah. When he goes backing down into Mensah, he no longer has an advantage there. 11-point
lead for San Diego State. Seiko off the mark from 3, and over the back from Silla, who's pleading his case. That's his 2nd foul.
And Degenhardt on the bench right now telling us guys, hey man, got to huddle with Marcus Shaver Jr., who was just to his right, your left on the screen, and Degenhardt not in the game. That's Batman and Robin that you're looking at for Boise State. Who's going to be the leader on the floor for them right now, and who's going to guard Adam Seiko?
Inbounds perfection for Seiko from 3-point land, and it's a 14-point lead for the Aztecs. Broncos need to stop the bleeding.
Everybody's standing around for Boise State. Someone's got to cut and help them out.
Well, 6'11" Mohamed Silla is the tallest player on the Boise State roster. They've moved him into the matchup with Mensah. But the fadeaway wouldn't drop, and now a chance for the Aztecs to extend their lead. A rope gathers, passes back out to the perimeter. A 3 on the way and off. Rebound for Silla.
About the only guy who has struggled so far. Actually, 2 Aztecs. Matt Bradley 0 for 3. Darion Trammell 0 for 3. Everybody else feeling themselves right now in a white uniform.
Kuzmanovic doubled, locates Max Rice, and again the Aztecs find a way underneath the rim. Trammell slings one to Mensah at the left block. And Mensah is unstoppable right now. Into double figures. And the lead is 16.
And the fans just love Mensah. And why wouldn't they? He's been the anchor of their defense for years now. He's a fifth-year senior. An offensive explosion from Mensah.
Again, the Broncos struggling to find any offensive rhythm.
Whoa.
Oh! Ho, ho. They are pouring it on. Butler adding to the party. Timeout, Boise State. Who saw this coming?
Adam Seiko is in rhythm. He is in his range when this dude walks off the bus. You got to mark him wherever. Whether you're playing man, zone, it don't matter. And everything going wrong for Boise State. In and out, layups. And then Mensah going to work down low. And then this was just like a couple steps in from half court, basically from the arrowhead of the spear to half court. And Adam Seiko, who is incredibly dangerous. He had his career high last week against Utah State here in this building, 25 points. He had 6 threes in the first half. He's a player that could just take over the game with his jumper.
Third 3 of the night for Seiko. San Diego State bench getting called for a technical foul for everybody coming off the bench early in the celebration.
That's what happens when guys make half quarters, you know. It's hard to contain yourself.
There's a lot of emotion being poured into this game, and you see Seiko trying to egg on the fans here. But it all stems, I think, from last year where they were stifled. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And I realize that Boise State, this is the best run they've had in many years. But for a long, long time, this has been San Diego State's lead. If you haven't been paying attention, then you might think it still is, because Boise State is on the ascendancy. They are a really good team. But the Aztecs are back to their old ways tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we've already mentioned it a couple times, but without Boise State's leader, Marcus Shaver Jr., I'm actually surprised that Boise State is where they're at right now with just 12 points and kind of look lost a little bit, especially with Degenhart on the bench. He's got 3 fouls, though. That's why we're probably not going to see him as Matt Rice gets a nice jump hook to go.
Guarded by Seiko there pretty tightly. Here's a rope. Backing in on Najee Smith. Haven't called Smith's name very much, and he gets beaten on the jump hook.
I'm not sure Najee Smith, number 23 in blue, is healthy. He also got hurt last game against Air Force. I believe it was his knee. And he's just trying to do what he can to help his team.
31-14. Abo with Rice left open in the corner, but he couldn't hit from 3. Boise State is 0 for 6 from the perimeter. Butler on the drive, off the window.
You know, the best time to drive as a perimeter player is when your post guy, when your post teammate is trying to seal, because then if you can get by your man, another travel here on the Boise State big man, and things going from bad to worse. But going back to Butler, when your big guy is posting up and he's locked in there, it's the best time to drive. And Wilka Rope mentioned it in the super sub. And here's that drive. Look at Ladie posting up. He occupies the big man. And Lamont Butler, to me, is a guy that really can take a next big step forward. He's a junior, averaging close to 10 points a game. Doesn't really have a scorer's mentality, which is fine. It fits in this Brian Dutcher's equal opportunity offense. He's not a guy that has an itchy trigger finger, if you know what I mean. He just plays the game.
Yeah, and he fits the system. He was second in the league in steals last year. Vermel, too much on the attempted layup. And the Broncos can they'll celebrate any stop they can get at this juncture. 33-14. A 19-point lead for San Diego State. Kobe Young into the game, gets fouled, and he'll shoot free throws. San Diego State starting to exact their revenge on their home floor. Well, they're enjoying this one on a Friday night in San Diego. 33-14 for San Diego State. Adam Seiko's always been a three-point threat. He's taken it to another level this year. 9 points tonight, all of them from the perimeter.
Alex, you know how much I love three-point shooters, and Adam Seiko, watching him is a privilege and a joy. He has a great aura about him. He is a defensive leader, and when he's open from three, I'm shocked when he doesn't make it. Look at the numbers here. 51% on the season, folks. You want to hear a crazier number than that? He's shooting 58% in Mountain West play. So that number's going up. It's incredible. Doesn't really care about two-point shots, and I'm not mad at him, right? Because those are worthless. Not worthless. They're worth less points. You know what I'm saying? But Adam Seiko loves his role. Doesn't mind coming off the bench as well, Alex, which is super important. There's a lot of players in the country that are always concerned about whether or not they're in the starting lineup. Adam Seiko just wants to win, and be a part of something special.
Fan favorite for sure, sixth-year senior. Young splits the pair. Both teams in the bonus as we approach 3.5 to play in a first half that has been a surprise. With two teams that locked horns in the Mountain West Championship game last year. But Boise State, again, if you're just joining us, without Marcus Shaver, their starting point guard. And that seems to have thrown the entire Broncos team off kilter. Max Rice puts one in here.
Max Rice now with 8 points. He's the only Bronco that's made more than one basket. And, you know, again, we got to mention that Tyson Dagenhart, the leading scorer for the Broncos, picked up 3 fouls in the first half. That's why he is not on the floor right now. So without Shaver Jr. and without Dagenhart for most of this first half, Boise State, it's been tough sledding.
First things first, they need stops on this end. Bounce pass, Ledee, no. Offensive rebound, Johnson the putback and the foul.
And both of these guys are so rugged too, right? We've seen so many guys who are physical for San Diego State. Ledee with the miss, but Keyshawn Johnson never assumes that a basket is going to go in. He's constantly working for that beachfront real estate underneath the hoop.
Unable to convert on the three-point play. He's another one of those lifers, seemingly, here at San Diego State. His 97th career game tonight.
You've been to San Diego, Alex. Why would you ever want to leave that city, man?
That's true. Jace Whiting back in. And finding Lucas Milner, his first touch of the game. And Boise State having to dig into their bench to try to find answers. Rebound punched back out. And it's Smith to bring it up.
Nice tip there from Kobe Young. He couldn't secure the rebound, so he tipped it out so one of his teammates could collect it.
That's a travel. And that's turnover number 8 for the Broncos. Coming up at the half, we'll check in with Rob Stone and Donnie Marshall. Great day of hoops on Fox coming up. A quadruple header. You'll be in the studio for all of them, Casey.
I will, yep. I mean, tomorrow's one of the biggest days in college basketball the entire season. Yep. Of course, Duke and Carolina is probably the headliner, but it's interesting. Both Duke and Carolina are unranked. That doesn't happen very often. Both those teams are kind of living on the bubble, you would say. Both teams have young coaches who are under pressure.
That's a tough catch for Ledee. Juggled it initially and probably wasn't able to get fully set. Bailed out by a foul. 35-19, a minute 46 to go in the half.
And Boise State coming into today is one of the hotter shooting teams in the Mountain West, especially from three-point range. And tonight, 0 for 6.
I think the more shocking thing, though, just from my point of view, Casey, is just they've been unable to stop San Diego State. The Aztecs shooting 48% from the floor.
Yeah, most of it, Mensa. Mensa's the only one in double figures in this game.
Lead at 18. Now the Aztecs not backing off defensively.
They're not going to back off for the entire 40 minutes regardless of the score. I mean, maybe if it got more out of hand, but I don't think so. San Diego State, one of the only teams in the Mountain West that picks up full court as much as they do.
On the corner, Young, and his foot on the line, comes up short. Right place, right time for Milner to throw it down.
Impressive Milner minutes here.
Yeah. He struggled in his limited minutes against Air Force, turned the ball over 4 times. He hadn't attempted a field goal in his last 3 games off the bench, but Milner has a couple of them. Every point is precious for Boise State at this juncture. 68 seconds remaining in the first half. And a 30-second timeout called by San Diego State. Tomorrow, Primetime Hoops is on Fox. A Big East clash between Villanova and Creighton. It tips off 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Only on Fox. It's been a nice second half surge for Creighton. Remember, their tumble at the beginning of conference play, right at the end of non-conference play, into the first couple of games of Big East play, but they're right in the hunt for the regular season title down to the finish here in the final month of the season.
And Creighton was a preseason AP number 9 team in the country. They lose 6 games in a row, but they're now starting to play like the team we thought they would. But how about Shaka Smart's Marquette Golden Eagles? Yeah. Is it surprising to you? Because Shaka Smart is known as a defensive guru, right? Havoc, 40 minutes. They're super active defensively. Marquette is the number 1 offensive team in the Big East. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a change in style, but they have made it work. They picked up a couple of signature non-conference wins, and you take a look here, Boise State. They could use a little bit of Shaka Smart's offensive fairy dust right now.
Oh yeah, they could use Marcus Shaver Jr. or Tyler Kolek, the point guard for Marquette. But that's what I was talking about, though, that Boise State offensively, their best weapon at times has been the three-point shot. It's been non-existent in this one. And you can't put it all on the fact that Marcus Shaver Jr. is out and Degenhart hasn't been playing a lot. I mean, still getting some open looks, just haven't gone down.
LeDee will head to the stripe. Oh, how frustrating must it be for Shaver, 6th year senior, actually, medical redshirt, followed by the COVID bonus year. Left Tuesday's game late, limping to the bench. I mean, he was in a lot of distress. It did not look good. This Boise State team, they're going to need him if they want to make back-to-back tournament appearances for the first time since 1994. That's their goal.
Oh, no question, Alex. I mean, Marcus Shaver, their 3rd leading scorer. Okay, but get this. He's 6'2". He is their leading rebounder on the team at 6'2" tall. He's the only player in the nation under 6'3" to average at least 6 rebounds a game. That's how special he is. And he's not afraid to stick his nose in there. And they miss him on both ends of the floor. And then especially, I mean, they call him big game shave.
Violation.
The look on Leon Rice's face says it all right now.
Yep.
This Jace Wadding, number 15 in blue, is a freshman, and he has not played in this arena with these guys breathing all down his neck before, and you could tell.
And that ball was going to go out anyway, but without Shaver, it's been a struggle for Boise State. And perhaps the best game for San Diego State in, give it a month even. They have stepped up on both ends. 20 points the margin. Milner, another touch, way off. ripped away by Ledee. And the Aztecs are not satisfied here. They'll hold for the final shot. Lob pass, Mensah, that's the way to finish off a terrific first half for San Diego State. And Nathan Mensah finishes the half with a dozen.
You saw that sign? It said it's Nate Mensah Day, and I believe it. I didn't know that coming into this one, but look at those scoring leaders. Max Rice and Nate Mensah. I thought San Diego State just came out of the gate ready to play. They knew Boise State was shorthanded. They didn't care. They're hungry for a win.
Our halftime report is up next after this break. I love that sign. It was Nate Mensah Day. We didn't even know it. And certainly he's to a 43-21 lead over Boise State. And yes, the 43 points might be eye-popping, but it's the defensive side of the ball that's been strong for the Aztecs.
Hey, look at the left side of your screen. Boise State 0 for 7 from 3. But it is the defense. Boise State is the top-ranked defense coming into this one, but the Aztecs, they want that defensive spot back. They played with the urgency and the activity that a game for first place in this conference demands. Frankly, steals, charges, blocks, the full-court pressure. And without Marcus Shaver Jr., Boise's starting point guard, out with an injury, the Aztecs, they smelled blood in the water, right? They forced 9 Bronco turnovers. They scored 11 points off those turnovers. And Alex, on a night when San Diego State's top 2 scorers, Matt Bradley and Darion Trammell, combined to shoot 0 for 7, don't score a point, and you're still beating your opponent by 22 points. It's really impressive and shows the depth of this team.
The Aztecs want to retain first place in the Mountain West. A win will do that. Both these teams at 8-2, tied for first atop the conference. Entry past Degenhardt. He had those 3 fouls in the first half, had to sit for most of it. And the offer continues for the Broncos behind the arc. Nice find up ahead for Johnson, and it's more of the same on both ends of the floor.
And the ball barely touched the ground on that transition. I think it was dribbled maybe twice, but everybody has their head up. And playing basketball off of missed shots where you can utilize the full 94 feet. Look, 1 dribble, 2 dribbles, that's it. 2 dribbles, one end of the floor to the other. That's how it's done.
Johnson perfect for the field with 6 points.
Keyshawn Johnson usually shoots dunks. That helps your shooting percentage.
Abo backs it out. Rice walled up. Whiting lost control, but he was grabbed. Where is the comeback, if there's going to be one for Boise State? Where will it have to start?
Starts with Tyson Degenhardt, right? He only played 11 minutes in that first half because of foul trouble. They went to him on the first possession. He passed it up. He got him a teammate an open shot, but he is a center, or I would call him power forward, number 2 in blue with the ball right now. A guy that can pass the ball.
Rice gets it to drop.
Well, you saw right there, Alex, you can run your offense through Tyson Degenhardt. He's that good of a player. He can shoot the 3, he can back you down on the post, but he's a willing passer, over 2 assists a game.
(45-23). Butler to fit that into a tight window for Mensah. Aztecs have to reset. 7 on the shot clock. Trammell slicing down the lane to score. And there's the first points of the night for Trammell.
Yeah, it's important for him. The second leading scorer for San Diego State, and has had trouble a little bit just adjusting to his role. Last year, he played at Seattle U and got to shoot every ball that he wanted to, right? And this year, he's going to have to sometimes take a back seat.
They lost Trey Pulliam in the offseason, San Diego State. Coaches wanted someone who could effectively kind of take over in that kind of situation. Out of the portal, right into the rotation for the Aztecs. Started every game so far.
I feel like the point guard position has been tricky for the Aztecs to fill over the years. I feel like they've had center and shooting guards, but the point guard position, they had Terrell Gomez transferred from Northridge one year, Trey Pulliam. You mentioned Malachi Flynn and KJ Fagan, the really, really awesome season that they had in 2020. Those guys kind of shared the point guard spot.
Might have been the best Aztec team of them all that year. The tournament got canceled. Johnson gets bumped. Rice with the foul.
And Darion Trammell, 5'10", a senior, and even though he's small, he's super creative in the lane, does a nice job of keeping guys on his backside. And then Abo, they need some perimeter shooting. That's not a 3, it's a 2, of course, but Abo averaging 12 points a game.
Trammell in some discomfort over on the Aztec bench. Chat with one of the athletic trainers.
Looks like his rib cage.
Yeah. It's like a bit of a knock from Max Rice, that last sequence.
That looked like a hockey check, Alex.
Yeah. Rope, first mistake he's made.
Yeah,
it's going to be a kickball going back to Boise State.
I was about to say, it's going to be a foul. Did they just call a kickball here? Did they call it?
Looked like it.
Because it actually looked like a rope kicked Max Rice like almost in the chin. Watch his legs. I laugh because it's not me that's getting kicked in the face right here. Oh, just on the side. Kind of like karate kicked him, man. Strike first, strike hard, no mercy. That's what I learned from Sensei Lawrence.
Smith to inbound. Boise State, their offense has been out of sync the entire night.
And who's the point guard on this possession? It's your starting center, Tyson Degenhart.
Abo steps in. Too strong from 16. Rebound pops to Butler. Adam Seiko hit 3 trays in the first half. Nice find, and the block. Whoa, they're going to call foul on Smith. Thought he got all ball on Mensah. That's a nice pass to find.
Call this a pocket pass and pick and roll. There's a pocket that's created between the big defender and the other defender right there. See, you split that. It's called a pocket pass right to the rim. And San Diego State's been running this high pick and roll all game, and they keep getting Mensah going to the rim because the Bronco defensive players on the weak side, Alex, they don't want to come off of shooters like Seiko and Matt Bradley and Micah Parrish. And that's where you put that. That's why pick and roll basketball is so popular now, because if you surround a pick and roll player, 2 players with shooters, you're asking the defense to really make a choice.
That's a splits the pair. 23 points. I'll be honest, neither of us saw this coming. Although the injury to Shaver certainly threw a wrench into the Broncos' plans. This will go the other way. Abo knocked down a rope.
You see the smile on Rope's face? This is a half flop, okay? And what do I mean by that? Is there contact? Absolutely. He didn't make up any contact. He didn't go down without any contact, but that was not enough contact for a Rope who's strong like an ox to go down. That's called a half flop.
A couple of years ago, they said he was by far the strongest guy on the team.
Yeah, that was until Jaden Ledee arrived on campus, and that guy's built like a bodybuilder.
It's off the miss from Seiko, loose ball foul.
Watch a Rope. He's going to hit the deck. Watch his face. He knows it. Watch his smile. Yep, gotcha. That's when you know. That's a half flop there.
Fourth foul on Degenhart. He has to sit. What a nightmare for him tonight. Guy who was probably going to be one of the options to play hero with Shaver out, but Degenhart 1 for 4 from the field, 4 fouls in just 14 minutes.
Alex, Tyson Degenhardt is a player of the year candidate. Like coming into this game, and I'm not saying just because of this performance and if this score holds up and Boise State doesn't come back to win, it's not like he's out of the race. But coming into the game, he is absolutely a player of the year candidate. And Boise State has not had a player win that award since 2015 when Derek Marks did it.
Well, Degenhardt is their leading scorer, second in rebounding, second in assists, third in blocks. Is that old baseball term being a 5-tool player? This is an offensive foul on Mensah.
One half flop deserves another, Alex.
Yes.
It's starting to get contagious here at Viejas Arena. Yep, there we go.
First place on the line, but it's been a blowout. San Diego State in control, 48-25. We touched on it a little bit earlier, KC, but Mountain West with 3 teams as of now, according to our Mike DeCourcy, in the tournament. Boise State probably still a little bit of work to do to secure their position. They have the second worst strength of schedule in the Mountain West. That probably factors in. And then those 2 at the bottom, Nevada, Utah State. There are 5 teams, the top 40 of the net in the Mountain West. Could both of them make it?
I mean, I think it's unlikely. I could see a scenario because they're going to have to play each other. Everybody's going to beat up on one another. So I think one of those teams is going to rise and fall. I'm not sure which one, but look at Nevada, though. I would say Nevada's 11-0 at home at the Lawler Center in Reno. It's really just a tough place to win. Nevada just beat San Diego State on Tuesday night, their biggest win of the season, obviously. Their 3 conference losses, though, Alex, have all come on the road. So they need to show me that they can win on the road as the Broncos finally get a 3 to go down. That is their first 3 of the game, 1 for 10.
Kuzmanovic knocking it down. Just to finish that point on Nevada. Quad 1 wins. San Diego State is one of them. Boise State the other, but both at home. Now, they do have the best strength of schedule in the Mountain West, but they need to start picking up some victories against other Quad 1 teams, especially on the road.
Yeah, and you could probably say that about every team that's ranked outside of the top 15 in America. It is really hard to win on the road no matter what conference you play, but especially the Mountain West, which has just been a beast. I mean, every night's a battle. Yeah. Among those top 5 teams, Boise State, San Diego State, Nevada, New Mexico, and Utah State. Yeah. Combined, Alex, listen to this, 57-4 combined record of all those teams I mentioned at home. You just can't go on the road and beat teams.
Tonight, a prime example of that.
Yeah, they got the foot on the gas still defensively. They're picking up full court.
Rice a 3. It seems like the lid only came off momentarily. San Diego State, to your point, has won every game they've played in the state of California this season. And of course, perfect on their home floor for the most part.
And while I was talking, of course, I missed this offensive rebound. So my apologies to Micah Parrish for being long-winded. Make sure he gets his credit. The family gets to see him bully his way to a bucket. Micah Parrish, part of that bench squad that just comes in. I mean, it's Jaden Ledee, it's Adam Seiko, it's Micah Parrish, it's Aguka Rope. I mean, right. Normally, Alex, I would say that most teams in the country have maybe 7 good players that coaches have trust in, that you know, the level doesn't drop off. This team's got 9, where Brian Dutcher, their head coach, he trusts every single one of those guys to close out a game, no matter who they're playing.
They're deep. I should just one correction, of course. It was they were undefeated in the state of California until that loss to New Mexico on their home floor. There's another 3 for Boise State. Lead down to 19. And figure with the margin where it's at, Degenhardt, you might as well just play him.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a steal. Kuzmanovic picks it up. On the wing, Degenhardt, no. And a foul.
Degenhardt, 32% three-point shooters, down from last year. He was one of the best in the Mountain West Conference, 43% a year ago, his freshman season. And now as a sophomore, but he has all the tools. And he's bigger. than you think. Like 6'7", but 240 pounds, and he uses it really well to his advantage. What a luxury it is to have a guy that can handle the ball in the perimeter. You go into dribble handoffs with Tyson Degenhart, and he can like pop back and shoot a three. There's that pocket pass.
Yeah, Mensah on the receiving end again.
I mean, they're just killing the Broncos with that pocket pass, coming in either pick and roll or that time a dribble handoff. And the weak side is just, they're a step slow. They've been a step slow all evening. And Alex, that has nothing to do with Marcus Shaver Jr. being out. Like defensively, Boise State has not been tied together.
Mensah hitting the first. He has been a fan favorite over his long tenure here. Came from Ghana, played his high school ball in Nevada, but he's been a stalwart here. Reigning Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year, Nathan Mensah, but this is his best performance you'd have to figure this season. Runner from Rice won't drop. Young picks it up in the corner. Kuzmanovic outside. The shot clock dwindling to 8. Step back, well, heat check. Way off. And punch back out, he'll get another look. And he'll line it up again. And he's off the mark again.
Well, Matt Bradley, number 20 in white, leading scorer for San Diego State, still not on the board tonight. 0 for 3, 0 points.
The rope comes back in. We haven't talked about Bradley all that much. Preseason All Mountain West selection. But man, if San Diego State's going to be deep enough where we don't have to call his name.
Yeah.
Yes. He's rejected at the rim. It's a nice pickup for Kobe Young getting the block.
You know what's been really impressive about Matt Bradley is in the non-conference he struggled. Non-conference games, 11 points a game. Since Mountain West play started, 16 points a game. That's really impressive because normally scouting reports get a little bit tighter in conference because coaches and players know your tendencies, and he's been able to overcome that. But you're right, they haven't really needed him at all in this one.
Shooting woes continue for the Broncos. Pass picked off there by Degenhart.
Don't tell Brian Dutcher the score right now. He's like at half court pointing and talking and making sure everybody, like he's like the sixth man out there. Thought he was going to trap the ball handler there.
You mentioned they're going to play to the final whistle anyway, but I wonder if there's a little bit of extra juice in that because of how they finished against Nevada. The Wolfpack shot 65% in the second half against the Aztecs on Tuesday night. They could not get stops. Tonight, a different story. And a chance to get back into first place alone in the Mountain West. Matt Bradley hasn't factored into the 52 points for San Diego State here. We mentioned preseason all-conference. Newcomer of the year in the Mountain West. He's a fifth-year senior. Well, a guy who was expected to take a big step. The word that Brian Dutcher likes to use with him, reliable, right? And you look at these numbers, I mean, he's been pretty consistent, though there is a dip this year.
Just a little bit of a dip. His lowest scoring total since the very top of that list is freshman year at Cal. But they brought him in 2 years ago to replace one of my favorite Aztecs, Matt Mitchell, who's another big body wing, a really good scorer, and he fit in perfectly last year. But this is a good thing for Matt Bradley. He does not have to carry the offensive load, which is he had to last year. He was the only guy for the Aztecs who averaged double figures. That's not the case this year. They're way deeper.
And as evidenced even by the lineup they have on the floor, obviously the score effects have taken over with some of the rotation here. Johnson only with 6 points tonight. Jump hook, perfect.
You see Tyson Degenhart defensively. He just put his hands straight up in the air. He's got 4 fouls. He's telling the referee, do not call a 5th one on me, even if I have to concede a basket.
Now we'll put one in here on the other end. You think about how much Degenhart means. Tuesday snapped a streak of 11 straight games in double figures. He only had 9 against Air Force. Shot 59% from the field over that span. He averaged over 16 points per game, but not so tonight with that foul trouble. 18-footer, Micah Parrish.
He's got a sweet lefty stroke, doesn't he? And he can shoot the 3, but he really likes to pull up off the bounce that time with the step back. Just taking what the defense gives. You know, a lot of people kind of talk trash about 2-point jumpers, that they're a terrible shot. It's not necessarily the case. It depends on who's shooting it, if they practice that shot, and what the defense is doing.
San Diego State, to your point, 3 of 13 from behind the arc. 2-point percentage has been phenomenal today.
He didn't get it off.
Nope. And even if he did, he never touched the rim.
Here's Keshad right here driving against Degenhart, and you just basically let him take that shot. And Micah Parrish here, if they're going to play drop coverage like that, yeah, that's the jumper that you take and make.
Yep. Parrish, who transferred in from Oakland, played a couple seasons there, just outside Detroit. What do you know, an all-conference defensive team selection in the Horizon League. Bradley, his first points tonight.
And that's his patented move right there, Alex. He loves to rock you to sleep a little bit. Step back, he can go step back either direction.
Oh, out of control there for Abo. He gets it to drop, and the foul. Well, now every San Diego State player who's been on the floor tonight has scored.
They don't have a lot of one-on-one ISO players. Matt Bradley is that answer for them. So when they get late clock or they get in trouble or they're playing a team that's switching, they're going to give it to him. And then Abo right there taking the hit from Darion Trammell.
Probably not enjoying this homecoming. San Diego native. .22-point lead.
Abo has made 11 straight free throws this season. That's something right there.
Yeah.
Over the course of several games.
A D for Butler on the curl. Takes a bump.
This is the type of play that I like to see, and I know that, kind of speaking for Brian Dutcher here, you want to see Lamont Butler be more aggressive. Oftentimes he's a guy that just kind of wants to make the right play, which is awesome. He averages 3 assists, which is second on this team to Trammell. But when they run dribble handoffs for Lamont Butler, he needs to turn the corner. He's another big bodyguard, much like Matt Bradley, who can take contact and finish at the rim.
Butler, remember, was slowed down a bit by a wrist injury last season, even though he started 25 games. But he's fully healthy this year. Averaging nearly 5 assists per game over the last 3 coming in.
This is the end where he's most special. I would argue that he's the best perimeter defender on a team that's loaded full of them.
Well, if you can't tell from that student section you hear, they're having fun at Viejas Arena. Rice is into double figures. He has 12. Arop will give it a go, and he'll knock one down. His first tray of the season. Why not?
This would be a good time to take and make your first tray when you're up big at home.
Blocking foul called. He had attempted 3 before tonight, but you know, when you're up by 20 plus, why not?
Yeah, no one's guarding him. I mean, he does practice the shot on a daily basis. Yeah. It's not his go-to, of course. You've already mentioned that. His teammates love it. It's Nate Mensa Day. Yeah. So, I mean, he's celebrating Nate Mensa Day by drilling a three. Makes sense to me.
And he'll get a nice hand as he takes a seat. It's got to be a bit of a release for this San Diego State team as well. You know, this is a team that they've been scrapping this season. Again, we talk about those defensive numbers have been down coming in, have been playing to their standard, coming off a loss where Nevada, their fans, give them credit, all the right to storm the floor when you beat a ranked team. Huge win for them, but I think San Diego State took that personally, although a couple of the players were saying, in some ways it's respect because they know how good you are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when I played at Stanford and we were ranked high and we lost, people stormed the floor, and I took it absolutely as a sign of respect. You want to be a program that people pack arenas to watch and storm the floor when they beat you. That's absolutely a sign of respect that San Diego State program has earned over the years.
All right, so San Diego State, unless there is a miraculous turnaround, look like they are going to retake first place outright in the Mountain West. This would be a quality win, a quad one win over Boise State, where the Broncos sit right now in the net as you take a look at the Aztecs tournament resume case.
Yeah, look at the middle of that board, quad one and quad two. So they're 6 and 5, and those are what you categorize as good wins. So San Diego State has 6 good wins. And here's the other part that you don't see. They're 10-0 in quads 3 and 4, which means they don't have any bad losses, which is almost as important. I would say good losses are more important, but not avoiding those bad losses is really critical. But look at that Ohio State win, that quad one win. Ohio State has lost 8 of their last 9 games in the Big Ten. Chris Holtman's team is spiraling. And if you're a San Diego State fan, you want the Buckeyes to just run over teams in the Big Ten. They've done the opposite.
The good news for now is that Ohio State's still top 50 in net, but once that drops, because they played them on a neutral floor in Maui, and that would drop from their quad one list.
One other note, that tournament in Maui, and they played, was it Arkansas?
Yep.
That San Diego State had that game. They had it in the bag. They were up 4 with, I believe, under 20 seconds to go and found a way to lose that one. A couple of bad decisions there, but that's one that's going to, you hope that it doesn't cost you. It's definitely going to cost them a seed line, I think, but you hope it doesn't cost them more than that.
Rice adds to his nice night. Again, he had 22 to lead the Broncos against Air Force. Well, just to list off those losses: Arizona, Arkansas, St. Mary's, New Mexico, Nevada. There's not a bad one in there for San Diego State.
Yeah, there's 3 ways to build a good NCAA tournament resume. The first is to accumulate as many good wins as you can. The second is to just avoid a bunch of bad losses, right? You don't have to have that many good quad one wins, but if you avoid bad losses, you'll be right there on the bubble or in the tournament. And the third way is what elite teams do. They combine them, right? You get amazing quad one and quad 2 wins while also avoiding the bad ones, and that's when you get a top 1, 2, or 3 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Right now, Mike DeCourcy has the Aztecs in as a 7 seed. Rolls off the rim right to the breadbasket of Najee Smith.
I think we can all say, as fans of the Mountain West Conference, we hope that when the teams do get in the NCAA tournament, they'll show their real strength, their real power. Last year, 4 teams got in, all 4 teams lost in the first round.
And you hope, too, that the committee shows the league a little bit more respect. And I think Boise State, kind of got caught on the bad side of that. First round exit for the Broncos. They had an 8 seed, had to face just a really good Memphis team that had a terrible first half, wound up surging the second half of the year. Wound up losing in Portland. That was basically a home game for Boise State, but you have to face a team that tough in the first round. That's just bad luck.
It's hard. And San Diego State, meanwhile, played a really good Creighton team. Yeah. And what was interesting about that one was Adam Seiko, his brother, Adam Seiko's brother is Arthur Kaluma, a starting forward for the Creighton Blue Jays. And those two, they played against each other in the NCAA tournament. Creighton won that game by 3 in overtime. That was a really fun game to watch.
Another 8-9 matchup. There's Bradley. Able to hit from 3. And a foul is called on Mensah.
It was called
on Boise State.
Yeah, Milner. I think Milner and Mensah kind of got locked arms right there. And Miller's looking at the ref like, come on, man.
Yeah.
You kidding me? And they're like, no, dude. Mensah, trust that guy. He's been around for about 10 years.
A little confused by by the demonstrative point towards the man at the free throw line here. Mensah, whose season high this year is 18 points. With that free throw, he's now at 16.
He's a really good free throw shooter, by the way, over 70%. And in Mountain West Conference play, if he makes this one, 23 for 28 from the line. That's your starting center. That's fantastic.
Kuzmanovic draws a bump. Butler will get tagged with the foul there. And now Kuzmanovic, junior from Serbia, at the line. Season high 26 minutes off the bench Tuesday against Air Force. You have to figure with Shaver out, and as bad as that boot looks on Shaver, that this might be one of the players that gets a bump in playing time as a result. We're talking about tournament resumes. Here's Boise State's. Mike DeCourcy has them in as a 10 seed at the moment. Yeah, so still a lot of work to do, especially dropping this game right here. You look at the bottom, they're quad 1 wins, and they're going to have a couple more opportunities. That's the great thing about the Mountain West is, there's a lot of conferences where, even like the bottom of the Pac-12, for example, there's a lot of games where they're trap games. Even if you win, it doesn't help your resume. That's not really the case in the Mountain West. Yeah, I don't know if we mentioned it, but the Mountain West Conference ranks ahead of both the Pac-12 and the ACC. Wow. That is truly impressive. They rank as the 5th strongest conference in America. Of course, when we say the word power conferences, we mean 6 conferences, the Power 5 in football, and then you got it in basketball. You have to add the Big East Conference, basketball only conference, with Creighton, Xavier, Marquette, Villanova. It's an awesome conference, but none of those teams have football programs. There's that breakdown. I didn't realize that the Mountain West, by average, had gone past the ACC. I know they were kind of neck and neck there in terms of conference record. Yeah, so even though you see the ACC has 7 teams getting in, but I was talking about the net rankings. Right. Is where the ACC is not strong. And so sometimes it can be confusing. Well, hey, why are there so many ACC teams when the conference is rated? It's because the bottom of the ACC, I believe. I mean, I'm not a Google guy, which is the people who helped build this net tool that we're all trying to figure out. But they also have a lot more teams in that league. Yes, there are. There's 16 teams, aren't there, in the ACC? Today there are. I don't know about the way things are going with realignment. There's 12 in the Pac-12, but only for one more year. Yeah. In the Big 12, there's 10 teams. In the Big 10, there's 14 teams. Yeah. Are you scoring at home? You're soon to have 14 in the Big 12, by the way. That's right. With BYU. Houston going in. What a pickup for them, too. They have Houston. And this game, which unfortunately for Boise State, they have been out of it from the get-go. This was a runaway from the start for San Diego State. Broncos had a 4-point lead. It was 6-2. They went out to a 6-2 lead, and San Diego State has not looked back. Butler for the elbow, short. Mensah looking for another rebound. It's popped out of his hands. And for Nathan Mensah, 17 points, 1 shy of a season high, 6 boards, 9 free throws, to your point earlier about chipping in at the stripe. I guess now I got to circle the calendar every February 3rd is Nathan Mensah Day.
Yeah.
Bradley, yeah, he threw it away. Parrish tried to save it. When we talk about resumes and teams that might impact things, got UNLV coming up next year on FS1, and that's a team that if they lose one more game, they're going to drop from being a quad 1 in certain circumstances. If you beat a team in the top 75 on the net on the road, that's considered a quad 1 win. UNLV is right on the borderline right now.
That's what this whole thing is fluid, right? It changes on a weekly basis. It can be confusing. And, you know, kind of what we talked about with that Ohio State win for San Diego State. When it happened, Ohio State was ranked in the top 20 in the country. You're thinking, all right, man, that's going to be our signature win. And then you look up in February, and it's just not that. And now a win against Boise State is a quad 1 win, which, you know, in early December, that was not the case either.
Kuzmanovic at the stripe here. 7 points after the free throw mate. Take a look at the upcoming schedule for San Diego State. So that UNLV game at home wouldn't count. I know we're kind of getting into the weeds a little bit there, but nonetheless, with how good that San Diego State's been to their home floor, 11-1 coming in. Hope to keep that run going. Degenhardt a 3, short, and his nightmare of a night continues. Turnover from the Aztecs in the front court. Degenhardt does have 9 points on 4 of 9 shooting, but those 4 early fouls, 3 of them in the first half, kept him from being a major factor in this game.
You know, let's give some credit to Max Rice, who's come out balling. I mean, 16 points on 7 of 14 shooting, and you know, he was the guy last year. 4 points a game on 31% shooting overall. He just couldn't get a rhythm. He couldn't really find confidence, and now he's one of the better scorers for the Bronco team. Kudos to him for getting out of that funk and being a consistent performer.
Trammell with the basket, ends a 6-0 run for the Broncos. Smith tried to scoop it in with the right hand, a little off balance on the take. Mensah was defending, as you might expect. And the Aztecs inside of 4 minutes to go. Can see the finish line here tonight. Seiko for Trammell. No. Abo the rebound.
I'm shocked at Adam Seiko. He turned down a wide open 3. Honestly, I don't know if I've seen that this season.
Degenhardt blocked by Mensah.
There's not too many centers in the Mountain West that would have blocked that shot from Degenhardt. I mean, that's what he does. He kind of puts you in the mix. He's a little bit slow. He doesn't play above the rim, but he's got impeccable footwork down there. And Mensah just waited for him to shoot it.
Yep. There's Johnson with the flush.
Well, so Keyshawn Johnson now just reached double figures. He's got 10 points. And San Diego State is 18-3 when he scores 10 or more points. So that's a good sign.
Well, there was a big focus on improving the offensive efficiency with this Aztec team. I'd say 51% shooting certainly does it.
Nate Mensah Day? Nope, Degenhardt. You can't score on him on his own day. It's just not going to happen. And then on the other end, Keyshawn with the finish.
Tonight we are in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada for Mountain West Conference basketball. E.J. Harkless, the leading scorer for UNLV on his 23rd birthday, looking for a win over Fresno State.
Well, we heard it was a little bit of a delay for some folks to get into the building tonight with a little bit of a ticketing issue, so no surprise, everybody's staying and enjoying their time late here. A Sunday Buckle up. One of the most thrilling events is returning to the LA Coliseum under the lights. NASCAR's Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum, Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, only on Fox. Don't forget practice and qualifying tomorrow on FS1. Balanced offense is probably the theme of the day for San Diego State.
Oh, this rotation goes 9 deep, and we've seen all 9, and all 9 have scored. This is Jaden Ledee. He's got 9 of the 29 bench points in this one. Mensa Day, yeah, he's perfect from the field. And just running the floor, that's Butler. He's got 7. A rope, hitting threes. That's when you know that you got it rolling offensively. He's got 7 points, and Micah Parrish doing his thing. I mean, everybody who's come in has felt a rhythm. The ball has been hopping. And then to match that, the defense has just been stifling.
You know, this San Diego State team, they're healthy. They have that 9-man rotation. This is their 4th game in a 10-day span, and that was a bit of a concern coming in. What would the fatigue level be like? But I mean, you've been in runs like that in college and professionally, Casey. Isn't it sometimes just better, not a lot of practice time, show up and ball out?
Amen to that, Alex. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played for Brian Dutcher. I don't know what his practices are like, but I can imagine that they're pretty hard and they're full of defensive stance drills, which no one really likes, even when you're a good defensive player. But yeah, I mean, that's where this rotation will help them survive a stretch like this more than any team in the Mountain West.
And they're on their way to reclaiming first place outright in the conference. They bounced in and out of the top 25 all season. The only ranked team in the Mountain West in the preseason poll. Of course, New Mexico, their 14-0 start to the season. They've been in and out of the poll as well. That's a team that Mike DeCourcy is currently having in the tournament as an 8 seed. Had a pretty good non-conference run as well. Big win over St. Mary's, New Mexico.
Oh, New Mexico's been fantastic. I mean, Richard Pitino's in his 2nd year there. And you remember last year they had Jalen House and Jamal Mashburn Jr. And no disrespect to the other Lobos on the team, but it seemed at times that that was the only offense that they had. And this year with Morris Udeze and Josiah Alec, they now have an inside-outside threat. They bring in KJ off the bench. I mean, that's a deep team as well. And playing at the pit, it's finally rocking and rolling. Tough place to play.
San Diego State finally going to the end of their bench, to the delight of the student section. Freshman Elijah Saunders comes in. A chance to get everybody touches tonight. And frankly, a big surprise in a game that had all the billing leading into it. We get a team to break 60, and Elijah Saunders makes it 72. Guy who's only appeared in 4 out of San Diego State's 10 conference games so far. Silla going to get some touches. A foul on the floor there on Saunders.
Well, it was the story, it was the headline coming into today. Marcus Shaver Jr., the 5th-year senior, starting point guard for Boise State, one of the best playmakers, shot makers, clutch shooters in the country, I would argue. I mean, his list of game winners or game tying shots is long. It's 5 or 6 deep. And you know, so not only do you miss his statistical production in a game like this, but you also, you know, it's that emotional drain when you don't have your leader on the floor on the road that Leon Rice and staff were really missing. And I mean, you could argue that you could rally, but as a player, you know, like, hey man, we're about to play probably our toughest test of the season, and we don't have one of our best players. It's going to be an uphill climb, and it was from the first moment of this one.
Brian Dutcher will empty his bench now.
And, you know, we are not doctors and we can't speculate. All I will say is I watched Marcus Shaver Jr. I watched the injury against Air Force. It happened with about 3 minutes to go in a 1-possession game, and it looked really painful. It looked bad. And it was an ankle that he had already dealt with. He had missed 4 games in December with that high ankle sprain, and he re-injured it. So who knows how long he's going to be out. Right now he is in a walking boot.
Late timeout 61 seconds to go. They're still here. Student section, for the most part, still intact. Viejas Arena once again leading the Mountain West in average attendance.
This is a basketball arena. I played here during my Stanford career in the NCAA tournament. Viejas Arena was one of the hosts. Yep. And it's a beautiful basketball arena with steep inclined walls. It feels like the crowd is right next to you. And one of the best student sections in all of America, the show.
Yeah. The feel, even though this is not sunken all that much, is kind of like the pit. That steep pitch all the way up to the ceiling. Feels like the seats go forever. This will be part of the rotation again. 2026, they're supposed to host NCAA tournament games again. It's always a fan favorite.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to cut? Especially the East Coast teams have been enduring those brutal winters. They're like, let's go to San Diego and play some NCAA basketball.
1 second differential, and that'll be the only difference to put this game in the books. Shot clock turned off, and they'll wind it all the way down. What an emphatic victory. Dominant performance for San Diego State, bouncing back from their second conference loss of the season. They come back and get some home cooking where they've been so good for so many years. 72-52 the final over Boise State, and the Aztecs are back in first place.
It is hard to make Boise State look normal, and I know that they were shorthanded. I get that, but San Diego State also turned up the pressure defensively and made Boise State, who's been incredible over the last month of this season, look like an average basketball team.
So the updated Mountain West Conference standings: San Diego State at 9-2, back in first place outright. Boise State will head back home. They had won 3 straight coming in. Well, a surprise performance. San Diego State lighting up the Broncos, who had gotten the better of them all 3 matchups last season. But the Aztecs take this one comfortably tonight. Coming up after the break, we'll get you out to Las Vegas for Fresno State and UNLV. For Casey Jacobson, this is Alex Faust. Good night, everybody.